We got 5 minutes on the clock. What is your name? What is your podcast show?
Hey, how's it going? Jason Croft is my name. I'm in Colorado, and my show is Strategy and Action.
Strategy in action. So when creating a podcast show, I got thousands of people asking me, why should I start a podcast show? How do I start a podcast show? All of those things. When it comes to strategy, when crafting your podcast show, what's one thing you should focus on in your mind? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. It should really benefit your business from episode one, not the, traditional content marketing approach that we hear about so much. Like, create content, put it out there for 6 months and a year, and eventually something will happen. No, no, no. All that's great and true and will come true as well. But you need to structure your show so that from episode one, there's a benefit to your business. And one of the fastest ways and best ways to do that is to invite your ideal clients onto the show, right? Have that immediate conversation with somebody you've been wanting to get in touch with who could be an ideal client. And you just want to find out, you want to have that meaningful connection relationship. And a podcast is the greatest tool to do that. Secondarily would be strategic partners with the same concept in mind, but somebody who has an audience of your ideal clients. You can take it's that same dynamic. You can take that same approach and do that as well.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. And I've seen people do that really well. And I've seen people abuse this where they go, hey, would you like to be on our show? It's their ideal client. And the whole time they're pitching to the person and they're like, I just got trapped. How do you avoid that so you make it feel like it's an interview, a conversation that could turn to a sale? How do you do that?
Biggest way layers into a better way to structure your show as well, for that reason, and to position you as an authority, both, which is, structured around a core topic and let that person know. Obviously, it's a topic that relates to that person you're bringing on the show, but let them know, like, hey, this is what we're going to dig into, right? I've seen you do this really well. I'd love to have you on the show to do this and have this core discussion around this. And that immediately lets them know, like, oh, okay, I am there to give my opinion. And again, if you structure your show the right way, even if that other person assumes that you're going to want to sell them or something like that, they can put that time in, be on your show. And even if, they get a pitch from you and they don't want it, blah, 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 they still have this valuable piece of content. Their time hasn't been wasted. And so that's the immediate answer to that for me.
Yeah. Which I think is great is setting the expectation early on. And in one of our shows, what we do is I tell them most of the time after the interview, and we do this in the green room, after the interview, we leave time because most of the time people say, hey, we should do a deal together. So I create that expectation of, I'm going to interview you. I'm going to share it a ton, but you and I may do a deal together, and I leave some time afterwards to talk about it. And they're like, awesome. Like, what other sales channel where people go, awesome, I want you to sell to me, right? So
yeah.
how did you
Beautiful.
get this idea to start this media leads and strategy and action? Like, where did that come from?
Gosh, well, this was my third show that I had done. The first one back in both our Dallas days, did a show called Startup Dallas.
Yeah.
And it from that first show, it was a marketing tool. We had, I worked for a production company at the time. We had studios and lights and all that. So we did a 3-camera shoot, bringing in, leaders and folks from the startup community, because we felt like, oh, they would make great clients for us. So we kind of started that first one from that. And it was like, oh, wow, this works. This is amazing. And I fell in love with it. And I was like, I'm going to do this forever. So both those things happened.
Yeah. Are you addicted to podcasting as I am?
Oh, yeah. And I'm addicted to this, right? Like, this is just oxygen for me, this back and forth and this connection, and a podcast is just the greatest version of that.
It is so cool because, I mean, if you're sitting in your office and it's cold outside in Colorado, you're not going to go chat to the guy next door, but you could do this anywhere in the world at any time of the day at scale.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Jason, where could people go? What's the name of your podcast show? Like, give us a great plug here, man.
Absolutely. Go to strategyactionshow.com. Strategy plus action is kind of the logo there. You can find all the episodes and a little bit about me as well.
Cool. Jason, thanks for coming on. We did that all under 5 minutes. We love you guys. let's start some podcast shows, grow it, and monetize it. See ya.